This week on NAIT NewsWatch.
Residents gather to discuss and get an inside look at a possible downtown arena and entertainment district.
And I want to find out, how much he's going to pay, how much we're going to pay, and then what that's going to be about.
Edmonton's newly elected City Council enters discussion on the future budget of the Capital Region.
And Council goes through the budget, and we see at the end of the day as to what will happen.
And a tragic incident on Edmonton's LRT lines leaves some residents wondering if it was more than an accident.
At this point, it is a bit of speculation as it still is under investigation.
NewsWatch starts right now. Good evening. The public consultation phase for the proposed downtown arena and entertainment district is raising many questions and concerns.
Edmontonians had their say on the matter during the first round of open house this week, and it looks like it'll be an issue that won't be easily settled. Our Kathy Lee joins us live from the news center with more on the story.
While many are warming up to the idea of a downtown arena district that could revitalize our city's core, the concerns recently expressed involve funding and the overall effect it will have on our city. Credo Coffee House is a popular place on 104th Street near the future arena district. Owner Jeff Linden is optimistic about the new development for his business.
I think any new development for downtown is going to be a positive. Something of this scale will obviously bring a lot of people downtown, and that's a good thing. We need downtown to have a lot more vibrancy, a lot more options for entertainment.
The same opinion can't be echoed from a business owner just a couple doors down.
If you look at any downtown arena, really the market that it attracts goes much more towards supporting the arena itself and the arena complex and the businesses contained therein than it does to revitalizing any surrounding areas.
Paliuso is even more against the current projected funding strategy for the project.
From the aspect of a publicly funded arena or a partially publicly funded arena, I think it's a terrible idea.
These opinions and suggestions are what City Council want to consider during the analysis and decision-making process.
I think Council is going to try to deal with what it can deal with and make it the best proposal it can be. And if it finds that it just is not affordable, or for some reason it can't do it or doesn't want to do it, Council will vote in that direction.
Like Paliuso, most people at the open house posted concerns about the funding sources. This includes a community revitalization levy, or CRL, forms of user pay that include a ticket tax, private investments, and provincial and federal funding. After the information is compiled, a report will go to Council in mid-January of 2011. It's not too late for the public to offer their opinions. And the next open house and informational session will be held on the 15th and the 17th. Visit edmonton.ca for more information.
Will the CRL increase property tax rates?
No, only owners of new buildings in and around the arena and entertainment district will have to pay a property tax. They're hoping that this will encourage a private sector investment, which will increase the property value of the area and increase tax revenue. The new revenue generated will then be dedicated to covering the cost for the project for up to 20 years.
What will happen if the CRL doesn't generate enough money?
After speaking with a representative from the Cates Group, he explained the estimated revenue generated from the CRL is actually quite conservative. So they're very confident it will cover the cost. But if there is a shortfall, then the Cates Group and the city will get together and discuss the issue until a solution can be met.
Thanks, Kathy. That's Kathy reporting live from our news center tonight.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch.
The new faces of City Hall's chambers received their first major task in their term this week. City Hall councillors, along with Mayor Mandel, began preparing the new year budget for the Capital Region. The budget proposed by Council will equal around 5% increase, which will average out to $120 per home throughout the year. While Mandel wants to lower the increase to around 3%, he believes the taxes issued in the city are a bargain for residents.
I think people have to look at the kind of service they get from their taxes and weigh the value of them. We think, with transit and police and snow removal and recreation centers, et cetera, it's good value.
The proposed budget would include higher transit fees, extra photo radar, and less frequent mosquito control.
2 people were killed in a tragic incident involving an LRT in a North Edmonton neighborhood this weekend. The collision occurred Tuesday evening at the corner of 82nd Street and 113th Ave when the train collided with two teenagers who were positioned on the tracks. While both victims succumbed to their injuries, Edmonton Police Services are looking at a number of factors as to what played into the occurrence.
And pull together the forensic information and the medical examiner's autopsy as well. So they'll be in the best position to determine whether or not the death was accidental or whether it was criminal.
EPS is currently asking anyone who may have witnessed the incident to contact police services at 780-423-4567. Deal Papastis and Jamie Kootenay were both 19 years old.
The city is working to make better use of older, more mature neighborhoods, as well as make for more affordable housing options. The city has won 2 awards of merit from the Alberta Professional Planners Institute for its residential infill as well as components of the secondary suites program. Mayor Mandel presented them to Gary Clausen, General Manager of the Planning and Development Department, reflecting the Council's leadership and hard work of the administration. One example of the project is the revitalization of the 118th Avenue, which is currently underway.
Nearly 6 months after an explosion shook a North End neighborhood, residents will finally be seeing a change. Broken windows, burned rubble, and charred bits of children's toys are images the residents of Lago Lindo have been faced with every day. The residents are frustrated with the lack of response from the city.
Where's the government right now? This was disaster. Just to help clean up and make it nice, not just for us. We live in a good right now house and everything, but for this neighborhood.
The city is currently hoping to secure a contractor to clear the site.
Well, hopefully it can be done once we get a contractor and we get on the property. Hopefully within 1 to 2 days the site can be cleaned up.
The city has legally gained access to the property and will begin to clear it in the next few weeks.
The combined and ongoing efforts of the City of Edmonton, businesses, communities, and individuals to keep your Edmonton clean are paying off. The city recognized that the 2010 litter audit was a success, showing a 29% reduction in litter on city streets.
This is an extremely important initiative with great positive outcomes.
The city awarded several of the supporting businesses and media partners that contributed their time, money, and resources.
The biggest problem still ties back to packaging, cigarette and tobacco packaging.
The city will continue with their efforts and have already received the Communities in Bloom 2010 Tidiness Award.
Jobless Albertans may have a brighter future of re-entering the workforce. After facing a recession in the past year, Alberta posted a $17,000 job increase, with a large percentage of those being part-time. The increase could be related to a stable plan, according to Minister Thomas.
We kept employment rates high, even relatively speaking, during recession time. So now that strength of our position upon exit is reflecting in a respectable recovery rate.
The 6% unemployment rate in Alberta may also have a chance to improve once again in the new year.
There are reasons to believe that we will be the first ones to fully recover from recession, not only in Canada, but probably North America.
Alberta's unemployment rate is currently the 3rd lowest in the country.
This past Thursday, people from all around the world remembered those lost in the war. Students, staff, and community members gathered at St. Joseph's High School on Wednesday to honor veterans and those lost in the war, both past and present. Students listened in silence to the long list of the deceased. Some students feel that our society is very distant from the war and its effects.
With the society the way it is today, kids don't have to sacrifice as much as people did in the past, and they don't really think about sacrificing their lives and saving their country.
While many students don't feel as connected as they used to be, they still want to continue to wear a poppy every year out of respect.
The Health and Safety Conference demonstrated new ways in which you can protect yourself at home or on the job. With a trade show of 140 booths, employers and consumers got a look at the top safety equipment.
Can't really pinpoint the favorite part. There's a lot of value in all of it. Meeting the trade fair, you get to meet the suppliers, come up with new ideas, products.
In its workshops and educational sessions, the conference brings attention to new safety ideas every year.
We will get people who are health and safety professionals. We get people from management, human resources.
The conference hopes to prevent future accidents.
Engaging and daring rodeo stars were the only highlight of Farm Fair International this past week. With an endless selection of cowboy boots and western wear, Farm Fair International was hosted for the 37th time by Northlands.
We get thousands of people through here, and great opportunities for people to do some Christmas shopping.
A new addition to the annual event was an interactive and educational exhibit allowing for youth to learn about Alberta's agriculture industry.
I love Farm Fair.
The Canadian Finals Rodeo is held in conjunction with the Farm Fair, bringing international guests and local ranchers together to experience country life firsthand.
Coming up after the break, a clothing drive is held for a youth emergency shelter.
Dental and medical students at the U of A hope to impact the less fortunate youth in Edmonton.
So many of the kids that we see come to us without adequate clothing or without weather-appropriate clothing.
Some students have taken extreme measures when studying for their exams.
Drains students over time.
Coming up next in sports, I try and do that.
Now that winter is setting in, many people's thoughts turn to the less fortunate.
Some U of A students took to the streets to collect clothes for other use. Dental and medical students worked hard at collecting warmer clothing from neighbors and some of their own closets.
I think it's exciting to be able to do something for these kids, and yeah, it's nice to have youth helping youth, obviously.
In order to help develop their humanitarian spirit, students chose to support the Youth Shelter Society.
So many of the kids that we see come to us without adequate clothing or without weather-appropriate clothing, and we have no room in our budget.
To donate, go to yes.org.
Well, Taylor, it's really starting to cool off out there.
Yeah, it's getting a bit chilly out there. Let's see what Cody has in weather.
That's right, the warm weather looks like it'll be punching out for this week. The sub-zero temperatures of the winter months are finally starting to roll in, so make sure you bring that warm winter jacket out with you when you're out and about this week. Let's take a look at the forecast for around Alberta tomorrow. In Calgary, sunny with a high of and a low of +4, 40% chance of precipitation. In Jasper, a high of -1 and a low of -4. They've got a mix of sun and cloud, 30% chance of flurries. In Fort McMurray, they got a mix of sun and cloud, 40% chance of flurries, with a high of -3 and a low of -5. Here in Edmonton, we're looking at a mix of sun and cloud with a high of +1 and a low of 0. So we're sitting around the average high for today. The record high was +18 back in 1979, which I know a lot of people would like to see at this time of year, while the record low was an icy -28 all the way back in 1931.
Weather sponsored by NR92.com, the station for the students.
This November, we've had above average temperatures, so we can count ourselves pretty lucky, but it looks like the winter weather is slowly starting to take over.
Looks like I'm not going to be wearing any shorts anytime soon.
No, sadly I'll have to put away those flip-flops. Thanks, Cody.
No problem.
Many post-secondary courses have a very heavy workload.
Some students have taken extreme measures to finish all of their work. Julie Finkelman has more.
Exams, heavy course loads, and overall studying are all factors for a sleepless night.
If you're planning to stick to like a strict kind of schedule, like go to bed at 10, wake up at 6, like that's not always possible. You have to do something else in order to get through. What do most students do? They usually go and get some coffee.
Many students resort to drinking beverages high in caffeine and eating sugary snacks to keep their energy levels high.
The trouble is when you get into it and it works, you keep doing it, and it really drains students over time. If you stay up all night, obviously you're not going to be able to concentrate, you're not going to learn in class, you can't really catch up on missed sleep. You feel like you do, but you really don't.
Extreme studying habits can be hard on your body. Counselors suggest getting more sleep, drinking more water, and using time management skills to get the most out of your studies. Julie Finkelman, NAIT NewsWatch.
Jessica Kent is here with sports. So I hear the Eskimos have a big coaching change.
And I also heard that Edmonton's hosting the Grey Cup this year.
Oh, absolutely. It was a huge week for the Eskimos. All that and more coming up in sports. Soccer nationals may have come and gone, but hosting the CCAA will always be a memory for NAIT soccer teams. This past week, the NAIT Ooks met their opposition for breakfast before kicking off the CCAA Nationals.
I think we have just as good a chance as everyone else. If we play our game and stick to our game plan, I think we have a pretty good chance.
Proud of hosting the event, NAIT coaches and athletes welcomed their competition of 300 athletes and 12 different teams to their home turf.
I think certainly home fan support will be massive. And that can help players if they start to struggle a bit when you've got 50 family and friends behind kind of helping you out, cheering you on. That's going to bring you up a little bit.
To find out who won the gold medal between the Ooks women and FX Garneau, visit nait.ca. The MFC fighters came to West Edmonton Mall this week to bear all to the world before their big fight last Friday.
154.6 for Brad Cardinal.
For the first time in Maximum Fighting history, the whole world can now watch an official MFC weigh-in online.
Doing this, you get to test yourself each and every day, overcoming your nerves, your anxiety, your fear, and overcoming that challenge. This really grows your character.
I just plan on putting my fist to his face, especially right now.
Viewers can see how these martial arts masters prep for a fight and what happens when they meet their match.
I'm not really a trash talker or anything like that. I mean, nothing I say or nothing my opponent's going to say is going to make a difference in the outcome, so I'm just kind of like, hey, let's do it. Let's get down,
To watch the official weigh-in video online, visit ustream.tv. The Canadian Final Rodeo made its way back to our city this past week. Before kicking things off, the stars of the rodeo give a little back to their youngest fans. Rodeo magic was in the air as over 150 special needs kids met the rodeo stars to learn just what it takes to be a real-life cowboy.
The kids just love it so much, so it makes you want to come back every year. You're not going to see a better rodeo anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter where you go, the top guys and the top animals are here.
CFR is the biggest indoor rodeo in Canada, earning its 37th year at Rexall Place, bringing contestants from Canada, the States, and this year Australia. Eskimos head coach Richie Hall has been fired. The new dismissal became official to the public on Friday. The Esk's new GM Eric Tillman fired Hall after the head coach teams was 16-20. This was the first year the Eskimos didn't make the playoffs under Hall. Some Eskimo fans are questioning Tillman's decisions and are concerned the Eskimos will be back into the shape they were a year and a half ago. We won't be hearing touchdown Eskimos anymore this season, but we will be hearing whistles, cheering, and live music from thousands of football fans this November. Churchill Square will be undergoing a Grey Cup makeover in preparation for the 2010 Grey Cup Festival.
It's all going to be a very big festival with very different components, but I think it'll make for a good time.
It may be empty now, but a 20,000 square foot tent will fill this area for the kickoff party on November 24th.
We're putting a mini field on the City Hall Plaza. We're putting a 80-foot tall zip line tower next to the clock tower at City Hall. It only comes around once every 8 years or so. So I hope they remember it as a big mix, a good party, and just a great time.
These streets are expected to have 200,000 to 300,000 people visiting from all over Canada. Come down and check out the festival from November 24th to the 28th. This week I had to lace up my figure skates and hit the arena. I thought I had the potential to become the next Jamie Salé, but boy, was I wrong. So I'm here at the Royal Glenora Club with Corinne, who's going to try and teach me how to figure skate. We'll see how it goes. Corinne, what are we doing today?
Today we're going to learn a spiral, a spin, and an easy jump.
All right, let's try it.
Okay.
Knowing that I've only skated a handful of times, Corinne decided it would be best for me to keep both skates on the ice for my first trick. So I tried out spinning.
I could only do one. Make sure I hug my teddy.
She taught me to hug my teddy bear to gain speed.
Oh, that one wasn't bad.
That was good. Not bad is pretty good for me, but let's just say I was about 1,000 turns away from making the Olympic team. Next it was time for the easy jump. I think a more suitable name would be death jump. Jumping on ice is definitely easier said than done. But I was determined. How can I become an Olympian if I don't practice? I was taught the proper takeoff and landing positions to perfectly complete my waltz jump. I'm actually surprised I didn't waltz jump my way down till I was flat on the ice. Last but certainly not least was the spiral. After a quick warm-up, this one-legged stunt was actually the easiest for me to do, and the most fun. It didn't come without any bruises though. It was the easiest for me, but the only one I took a tumbling with. figure that.
Oh!
I do realize I'm nowhere close to being the next gold medalist, but I had fun and tried my hardest. What more can I do?
Look, I'm just like Corinne now. Well, this has been Jessica Kent in my fancy little attire with End Zone Challenge.
So do you think you have what it takes to make the Olympics in 2014?
You know what, I think a few more practices and I'll definitely be there. Watch out for me.
Some of those tricks looked really hard.
Yeah, the bruises weren't the best either, but you know what, it was fun.
Coming up after the break, a marathon will be held to raise money for blood cancer.
We participated in the training to raise awareness.
Runners and walkers train to complete a marathon or half marathon while raising funds for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of Canada.
This week in entertainment, the new Call of Duty hits stores.
Hair provided for NAIT NewsWatch by Carrie L. Salon and Spa.
Maria and I put our best foot forward this week with the team in training.
We found out what it takes to run a marathon in order to support the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Team in Training is a 4 to 5 month training program in which runners and walkers train to complete a marathon or a half marathon while raising funds for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
These funds go towards research as well as patient services right here in the Prairie region, which is Alberta and Saskatchewan.
Every 4 minutes, one person is diagnosed with blood cancer, and every 10 minutes, somebody dies.
People of all levels, a lot of people do come to us as complete beginners, as they come more for the cause than actually the fitness.
To sponsor Taylor, email him at t_Pullman@hotmail.com.
So I heard Brianna McCutcheon took part in a midnight release of a hot new video game.
Yeah, it might be something that you're maybe interested in adding to your Christmas list.
That's right, the wait is finally over for all you gamers out there. Call of Duty Black Ops was released this past week. No one could be more excited about the release than the Call of Duty fans themselves.
We've been waiting outside since 6 p.m. in the cold. Thank goodness there's no snow, but we're super excited.
It's all worth it. It's all worth it.
We're going home to play it right now.
The Call of Duty games are just like hyper realistic. The guns are all based off of actual models. It takes place in real places and stuff like that, so it's like you're there.
With Black Ops being the 7th video game in the series, gamers will have a difficult time doing anything but playing the gritty, realistic game. This past week, people in the Capital Region took part in HomeFest. The event features group sessions with affected members along with performances and information booths. While money is raised as part of the festival, organizers believe the festival is truly focused on another
in a number of the venues, issues around housing and how it affects people and homelessness and the results of that are being raised and talked about. And that's the whole purpose of HomeFest. We want to raise awareness.
And music played a big part of this fundraising event at the TransAlta Art Barns. HomeFest welcomed Edmontonians its campaign to ensure Edmonton has more affordable housing with great folk music to enjoy. Don Marcotte of Lionel Rolt Trio Band let us in on what he thinks of HomeFest.
HomeFest is a very important cause to support because every one of us is usually about a paycheck or two away from being where these people are.
Not only was there fantastic folk music, there was also poetry about the issue. And Keith Harding, a volunteer, was pleased with this year's HomeFest.
It's a great event, and we encourage people that would come out again next year and support it.
To see how you can help, contact the Edmonton Coalition on Housing and Homelessness at www.ecohh.ca. Black Swan is a refreshing psychological thriller that puts a new spin on the old ballerina in New York story.
I had the craziest dream last night about a girl who was turned into a swan, but her prince falls for the wrong girl and she kills herself. Promise to feature me more this season.
Natalie Portman plays the main character Nina, whose life's hard work has got her the lead role in the ballet.
Lily, you're gonna be amazing.
After Nina thinks she has it all, she finds out Lily, a new hire played by Mila Kunis, might ultimately replace her life passion in a short instant.
Where'd you get these?
It's nothing.
You sweet girl.
What's she doing here? He made me your alternate.
The only person standing in your way is you.
Ultimately trying to fit the part of the Black Swan consumes her life, and the line between what's real and what's not slowly blurs. Soon Nina's biggest competition is herself.
Please believe me. Sweet girl. Sweet girl. What happened to my sweet girl? She's gone!
Black Swan will hit theaters everywhere December 1st, 2010.
I'll probably be the first one in line to see that movie, but that's all I have for entertainment this week. Back to the news desk.
Thanks, Brianna. With the conclusion of the Season of Remembrance, the City of Edmonton has already started preparations for the Season of Giving.
Edmonton's Churchill Square will once again host one of the largest Christmas trees in North America. This year's theme will celebrate the city's hosting of the 98th Grey Cup with a display of the Eskies colors of green and gold. A 21-meter white pine spruce was grown in Athabasca and will house around 10,000 LED bulbs. The tree was officially opened Saturday at a special ceremony held by the mayor and the North Pole's own Santa Claus. It will be open till the start of the new year.
Well, Taylor, I think this upcoming week I'm definitely going to check out the tree in Churchill Square. It's huge.
It's crazy to think that Christmas is already upon us.
And it's neat how they use the Edmonton green and gold colors.
Yeah, and I always seem to put off Christmas shopping every year.
Yeah? Well, you know, with all those youths at the homeless shelter, if anyone has anything to donate, they're always looking for coats and boots, anything warm for the season.
I think I'll go through my closet and sort some stuff out and send it their way.
Especially since Cody told us it's supposed to be cooling down quite a bit coming up.
I know, it's really sad that I can no longer put my shorts off. I put it on as long as I could, but I guess I have to give it up.
I know, I'm going to miss summer so much. What about that new Black Ops game that just came out? Isn't that interesting? It's so realistic.
Well, I'm not much of a gamer myself, but, you know, it could be nice for someone else.
Well, I think it might be something I'd buy maybe for my brother. Well, that's all we have for the news tonight. I hope you have a great upcoming week.